Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Shrikar Agendran.
I'm Jack Smith.
And I'm Anish Gupta.
It's been a while since I've done the intro, but welcome back. We are through week one, and crazy is an understatement, man. Like that was a wild week, and we're here to recap it with a winners and losers episode. So how this is going to work, so we picked out we looked through every game and we picked out certain winners, certain losers, and we're going to go over them. And we're going to go over them in two segments. So without further ado, let's get into it. Thank you guys again for all your support. We continue to work towards 300. And let's do it. Let's start with the winners. And we got Russ's Kitchen as our first winner. The Seahawks finally let Russ cook. They're not relying on the ground game as much. What were your guys' thoughts on the Seahawks-Falcons game?
So I saw a very telling stat that the Seahawks were the second most team to throw the ball on first and second down, which means their throw rate on first and second down was the second highest this week, which is something that you never see from Seattle. I mean, last year it was run. Oh, and then maybe you'll throw on third down with Russ. Everyone was clamoring for the Seahawks to let Russ cook, and he did. I mean, he had more touchdowns than incompletions this week, and he threw 38 times. I want to say he was
35, I believe.
He threw 35. So I think he was 32 of 35 or 30. Yeah. And 4 touchdowns. They let him cook and he did. And they put the hurt on the Falcons. They did allow some points, but that offense was
mainly garbage time though.
Yeah. But that offense was potent and they didn't even need the running backs to do it. No running back had more than 4 carries and they still put up 38. 38 against
even
the
on
Falcons.
Defense. Jamal Adams had a great game, like 12 tackles. Like,
yeah,
he's already making an impact. And that pass rush, of course, it was lacking, but I think Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner were able to mask it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it kind of recapped the game. As I said in my power rankings thing was, again, like you said, I said Bobby Wagner had the best PFF grade for any cover linebacker. So again, he's consistently the best cover linebacker we have in this game. And I think talking about Russell Wilson, it's just, he's always been, for the first half of his career, I'd say people always looked at him as the guy with the good defense or the guy who would just make enough plays to win the game. But now we're seeing it because the dude has never had below a 92 passer rating, which is very, very underrated. I think people don't even know about that. And when I looked it up, I was like, wow.
In a game?
And, no, not over a season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no way.
I was going to say, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. No, but also, he has 107 touchdown passes in the last 3 years. No quarterback has over 100. So I think that's a very interesting stat to mention. Also, it just shows how while they do run the ball a lot, when he needs to, he can find your guy in the end zone. And he's doing it with a lot of guys. I mean, he had Doug Baldwin, obviously. He had Golden Tate the years before. Now he's doing it with Lockett and Metcalf. And you're right, the defense did. Towards the back end especially, allowing Matt Ryan to throw the ball downfield like that is a little bit concerning. But like I said, Jamal Adams made immediate plays. I think their secondary played well when it mattered. And their pass rush needs to be a bit more consistent. I thought they could have gotten more pressure. But overall, a great game from them. And I'm just thinking to myself, Russell Wilson is a lot smarter than people think. Mm-hmm. I think people look at mobile quarterbacks as talented and they use their just raw talent. But this guy goes through his progressions as he's doing it, especially on the run. You can see how his eyes shift from one side to the other. And you can see how even if he's moving with his legs on one side, he can see you on the opposite one. So I think, as you said, they finally let him cook. And boy, did he, because this is a great start to the season. And that's why I had Seattle move up over a team like San Francisco, just because they look really good as of right now, and Jack's pick for them winning the division isn't looking too bad right now.
No, and this should serve as a warning to teams because, they didn't even completely get the running going in this game. So you can try and shut down the run, and they're going to throw it all over you and put up 38. You can try and shut down the pass, and they can run it just like they did last year. So,
yep.
And if they get both going, oh my God.
But what do you think that makes it so insane? Like, quick question before we move on. Like, what do you think makes this running game so potent? Because their offensive line isn't the best.
It's Russ.
Exactly
what he can do in the pass game and even in the run game, it scares teams. They don't. Most teams with a quarterback like Russell Wilson don't run the ball 40 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
A team like the Seahawks will do that because they can, because you're scared of Russ.
And the secondary is also contemplating whether to go forward, stack the box, or they can. I don't think I've ever seen a defense fully stack the box against this team.
They can't.
I really haven't. They just can't.
And he makes everyone around him better. Chris Carson, was he undrafted? or 7th round or something like that.
I think it's 7th round.
He makes everyone around him better. Like,
yeah.
I guarantee you DK Metcalf goes to a different team his rookie year, and he's probably not made as good as he would be with Russ. He makes everyone around him better, including bad offensive lines. Too.
Yeah. Right? Like, he's the best deep ball thrower, so you have to move back, and that's what allows it. You don't even need the best offensive line when you have this type of thrower of a football.
And his ability to get out of the pocket, it's extremely hard to stop, and I don't see it slowing down.
Yeah, and we know he's the clear-cut number 2, but the clear-cut number 1 title belongs to Patrick Mahomes. As we move to the AFC, the Thursday night football game with the Chiefs and the Texans. I know Anish has been talking about this a lot, but we saw another layer to Patrick Mahomes' game. Anish, would you care to explain what that layer was?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously people know who've been watching the podcast, and just my friends in general. I was very skeptical of Patrick Mahomes coming into the league. After his 2018 season, I was always firm. I said he can't be the number 1 quarterback or the face of the league without a Super Bowl. He has that now. And now I'm all on Patrick Mahomes. I even call him a homeboy like Shannon Sharp does. So, yeah, I mean, what I was talking about with my friends after the game was my homeboy added a new layer to his game in the sense that he was, like Colin Cowherd said, surgical. He was literally reading defenses. And the 16-play drive, when I saw it and when I saw the headline 16 plays, I didn't even think about it at first. But then I realized he didn't have a single pass over 20 yards that game. And that will shock you. That shocked me when I heard it. And I looked back and I was like, yeah, he's right, because he was reading the defense, right? And Bill O'Brien's not a bad coach. He's a bad GM, sure, but not a bad coach. And he had good disguise coverages. I love Justin Reed moving around the field. I thought it was good, but it was Patrick Mahomes' ability to read defenses. As he said, apparently since mid-2018, he was starting to read defenses. And the ability for the Chiefs to slow the game down, that is incredible, because the playoffs won't always be like this, where it was fast-paced, 24-0 Texans, then 35-24 Chiefs, or something like that. Titans go up 10, Niners go up 10. It's not going to be like that all the time, and the Chiefs have shown that they can slow the game down when they need to.
Win the time of possession battle, too.
Yeah, that's all that matters, honestly.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm more impressed with a 16-play drive than a deep ball for 75 yards. Like, that impresses me more than him throwing 2 deep passes to Tyreek Hill on a drive. It's because we've never seen him have to do that. And defenses should realize, like, oh my God, he's not just a player who's just going to throw it down
like
2 passes.
Talent or something.
No, you try and take away the deep ball and he's going to surgically dissect you on defense. And 16-play drive, it was simple too. And it was Mahomes, but also just the Chiefs in general showed us that they can do this with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like, he had an amazing rookie debut, and he had 106 yards after contact, remember seeing, which until last night, I think Benny Snell went 116. That was the most. His yards after contact would still lead the league in rushing. And so the Chiefs have shown that they make it work with running backs, and they just added to their offensive pedigree even more with a game like this.
Not even.
I just wanted to add also to a quick point.
It's Andy Reid especially that knows how to use this. You look at LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, Kareem Hunt. Like, he knows how to have that workhorse back and how to utilize him.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to that too. Like, Helaire had a very similar debut to Kareem Hunt. And the ability, I think they're both really talented. Hunt was a 3rd-round pick. Helaire was a 1st-rounder for a reason. So imagine what they can do. Also, the Giants game, Daniel Jones executed a pretty long drive too. They were like 18 plays in. But then you started to see the fatigue, and you started to see Jones become a little more shaky with the football. Mahomes wasn't like that, and I thought that was really impressive. Also, his playmakers around him. Tyreek Hill was patient with the ball, and he waited, and he got his chance. Same with Kelsey. He was waiting for his turn. Mahomes' ability to spread the ball too is very underrated. I think he's learning from guys like Tom Brady after playing him, seeing how you're able to throw it to different receivers, no matter your talent, no matter your skill. But also, this goes on the Chiefs playmakers outside of Reek, Kelsey, and Helaire. So I need DeMarcus Robinson to be a little bit more consistent. Sammy Watkins. Week 1 cannot be the only week you show up, man. like, I need a little bit more from you. You showed up in the Super Bowl. I'll give him that. But again, a little bit more consistency in this team. I'm telling you, Jack, this is a dynastic team.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I picked the Ravens kind of in our preseason predictions, but it's really looking hard to pick against this Chiefs team. But then again, what the Ravens did to your Browns makes it hard to pick against them too.
I think that was the best Week 1 performance, I would say.
I think so too. If you don't mind, Trigger, I can move us on to this next one. There were a lot of teams that had new QBs this year. And only one of them won a game. And so our next winner is the Patriots QB decision. Going with Cam Newton, he was the only new face quarterback to win in week 1, and he posted the best QBR of all those quarterbacks. So what do you guys think of Cam Newton?
He just looked comfortable in that system. And, I think Bill Belichick, he really tailored this offense around Cam Newton and really showed their I wouldn't say it was like very much so a dominant performance by New England, because winning by 10 points, but like still then like it's a great debut for Cam Newton. This team could definitely still win the AFC East. I'll say that for sure. They're definitely going to still be in the competition. I still expect the Bills to win it, but wouldn't count out the Pats yet.
So, who was very high on this signing? I can't remember. But I think what it just shows is Cam Newton throughout his career, even in 2015, but I think that was the year I could say no, he lacked efficiency. And he lacked, poise with the football. 15 of 19 for 155. I don't need him to throw for 400. I don't. Right? And he ran 15 for 75 and 2 touchdowns. That's what I said. Great QBR. I don't remember the exact one, but I know it was good. And he was efficient with the football. Bill Belichick, I wouldn't say even dumbed the system down because it was a very good system suited for Cam Newton. We just, again, when I made my pick, I said, as much as I love the Dolphins, I can't bet against Bill Belichick. And that is why I picked the Patriots at home. Obviously, they didn't have fans, but it just shows how Cam Newton is still a very talented quarterback. He didn't need his arm there. He used his legs. So that gives me good signs that his foot is back. I think this team can easily make the playoffs. I'm growing more confidence each day. Obviously, I had them in my tier 3. I think they could move up, really. This team is looking really good, especially with that defense. I know it's the Dolphins, I know. But 3 picks, and your playmakers did it. Stephon Gilmore, J.C. Jackson. Again, best secondary in the league, and I told you guys, this until I see something else, that's the secondary I want on my team. They looked really good. I don't even know. I think Cam Newton comeback player of the year is really in his sights.
And you do have a tougher test this week against Seattle. So that'll be an interesting matchup to see.
Yeah, I don't want to overreact to this New England game 1 because it was the Dolphins. They obviously played a pretty poor game and they lacked kind of a lot on defense, it looked like, in week 1. And I also don't want to overreact to Cam's health because, yes, he did have a good game, but I want to see where he goes from this. Obviously, 15 carries for 75 yards. I want to see how he kind of plays off of that performance and see if he can maintain this. But he looked good. If he can maintain this throughout the year and the Patriots can maintain this, I think they're a dangerous team. But I want a couple more weeks.
Quick thing. The O-line. You guys know how much I like it. I was skeptical about it, right? Mm-hmm. Remember when I believe it was Marcus Cannon who opted out. I was concerned and you know what? The Patriots find a way to make this unit really good.
Every time.
They've had a top 10 O-line in my opinion every single year for the last at least 8 years for sure. And it's crazy to me, really. I don't know how they do it. But again, it just shows why it's because they have the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
This was amazing to watch how they were able to, control the time of possession. I mean, the Dolphins were marching down in the fourth quarter, but they kept it. And another thing, Gilmore did lock down Devontae Parker.
He did get injured too, but
for the most part, I think he did have a really good game against Devontae Parker. So it just shows this team is still here, ready to compete. And who knows, maybe they even have a better record than the Bucs. I'll pause on that for now, but we'll see.
Yeah, I just want a couple more games to see with this team to see if they can kind of maintain this. But I'm sure they've got a chance with Bill Belichick. Anything's possible.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on back to the NFC. We got the Arizona Cardinals, showing off their offensive and defensive strength. They're looking like a legit team. You're coming off a win against the Niners. You looked like a force to be reckoned with. I think Murray definitely lived up to the sleeper MVP hype. I know it's one game. We can't overreact. Week 1 is always where I overreact, but I think he's looking like that sleeper MVP. 320 total yards, 90 on the ground. DeAndre Hopkins, a career high 14 catches, 151 yards. Looks like he's going to be settled in nicely in Arizona. It's just one game, of course, but look, Arizona is going to be a sneaky good team in the NFC.
Yeah, I can kind of touch on it, though. Sorry, Jack, to cut you off there. But I kind of disagree on the whole Cardinals looked really good thing because I thought it was a sloppy game by both teams. I just think the Cardinals played less sloppy than the Niners. That's my take on it. Because both teams were very sluggish. They were very shaky. Both quarterbacks were shaky in the pocket. Aside from that Murray touchdown run, I don't think he played that well. But if you make the plays that you need, then I give it to you. which is what he did. So he made that touchdown run. But again, I got to give credit to this defense in the way where they stepped up when it mattered most, because the defense played all right. I think that the Mostert touchdown that they gave up was pretty stupid, in my opinion. You shouldn't have given that up. And Byron Murphy Jr., I've been telling a lot of people about him. He's a cold corner. He's really good. I think he's a really good CB2. He's got a lot of potential. I'm sure he's learned under Pat Pete a lot in those two plays. But also, you got to give a little bit of blame to Jimmy on that throw on fourth down. It was behind Trent Taylor.
Too late. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was a good performance. I wanted to shout this out on the power rings, but the Niners O-line actually held up a lot better than I thought. Srigar knows this. I have a friend who I've been discussing this with too. I was very skeptical on Trent Williams. 2 years out in the league, I didn't know how he would be. He did pretty well, especially against Chandler Jones. I want to see a little bit more from it though, because again, I think the Cardinals defense was shaky at times, right? So it was a sloppy game by both sides. I think the only players that played like that shined at that game were Mostert and DeAndre Hopkins. I think Murray did too when it mattered, but he didn't have a full good game throughout. But yeah, DeAndre Hopkins against Emmanuel Mosley. I think at times it's Sherman, but Sherman's a zone corner rather than man. So he would play sides, not specific to the receiver. So it was a sloppy game, but again, this is something that the Cardinals can definitely look forward to.
Yeah, I think that, like, obviously the Cardinals are going to have a pretty good offense for most of the year, but I was impressed by their defense. I don't really agree with you on that fact, because they shut down, the best run game, I think, in the league. They didn't completely, neutralize it, but they did enough to win the game, and that's all they need. I was impressed by the way Budda Baker played. I thought that the team did a pretty good job at limiting George Kittle. So they came in with a game plan, and I think that teams like that are dangerous. And if a team can game plan both on offense and defense to beat a team even like the Niners, I mean, I was very impressed with what the Arizona Cardinals did. Don't want to overreact yet, but yeah, I was impressed by both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm. Also, don't overreact on the Niners, please. No. I don't want people to I've seen people move them like 8 to 10 spots down. Come on, it's one game, right? Again, they didn't have their number one receiver in Deebo Samuel. They didn't even have their rookie Ayuk. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, and those two literally fit Shanahan's system. So I want people to slow down on that. I think the Niners are still a top 5 team. I think they still have a good shot at this division. And again, they played pretty well despite not having their main.
And the Cardinals match up well against them too.
Yeah.
They always played them well.
And they played us tough last year too.
Yeah,
they could have won both games.
Kittle wasn't 100% through for the rest of the game. I was talking to some Niner fans about it. He just looked off. So I think let's see how he goes coming into next week. I think he'll be fine. But again, yeah, let's slow down on the Niners, slander, I guess. Let's slow down on that. And then let's take a pause on the Cardinals. I want to see a little bit more. But again, yeah, this was a great start for them.
And going forward to the NFC East, the Washington football team, man. Coached by Ron Rivera, 8 sacks. Carson Wentz, what was it, second lowest QBR?
Yep.
Or PFF score. I'm not even sure.
I don't even want to talk about it.
But look, not only did Ron Rivera win his first game as Washington's coach, and not only was it an upset, but he did it while battling cancer. That's how you start your career with a new team. Of course, the Eagles were extremely banged up, especially on the O-line. More on them later. But look, a win's a win. And I was impressed by Washington. Just a tad bit. I'm not going to overreact, but they look pretty good.
We heard that despite, the O-line being hurt and the wide receiver weapons being out and all of that, Washington Wentz was going to get it done. I mean,
that was not a good time.
No.
I'm not going to lie.
But it looked like Wentz was in the position to do that. And at the beginning of the game, it looked like he was off to that start that Anish was talking about. And then things started to go downhill, and Washington racks up 8 sacks, and they buried Carson Wentz and the Eagles, and it was bad after that. And I wanted to take Washington so bad in our picks, and I've been saying it all offseason that people are kind of sleeping on Washington a bit. Yeah. I'm glad that it happened, but I'm still upset at myself I didn't actually, pick them to make the upset.
Yeah, funny. Who won the pick'em weeks?
It's week one. It's week one.
Okay.
It's week one. Yep. Hey, we all finished over 500 though, huh, Shrikar?
Yeah.
That's just me trying to make up for the fact I came in last. But I should have gone with Washington. But I'm glad they're kind of proving me right that people are sleeping on them a bit.
Chase Young, guys. OSU.
Hey, I called that one too.
Love that, man.
Ryan,
hey, look.
Great game.
Oh, God, this was so heartbreaking. Carson Wentz, man. Come on, dude. Literally 2 days ago, I'm saying this dude's got an MVP shot. And I think he had the best first half of him and Josh Allen, which are the two guys I like. So I was so happy. And then up 17-0. And then, you know what? I'm actually really mad because the O-line gave up on the quarterback. They were slow to pick him up. right? That's also another key. You, as an offensive line, you can't do that. Come on. That's your quarterback. You have to protect him. Your jerseys have to look green and stuff, so theirs looks clean. That's your job. And the way I saw them sluggish to pick him up, that's just not going to cut it. Harry Roseman has made some questionable picks in the draft. I think that should be addressed by the Eagles, and I'm sure Eagles fans are really mad about that right now too. I think this team is still good. I like this Eagles team going in, but this was very concerning. I especially the way the O-line played in the second half. Wentz did play bad. He did wince a little bit. I'm not going to put all the blame on him though, as much as I would put it on another quarterback. I think I'm still being a little bit biased to him, but I think they bounce back next week. But this is pretty concerning though, especially because the run game was inconsistent. I think Miles Sanders will help with that, but to a certain extent, and for the defense too. Haskins actually didn't do that bad. He's from OSU. You can't even say I hate him. So he played a good game, but they did do well against the run. They had a pretty low yards per carry, the Reds, Washington. But this is a good sign for them, especially their defensive front, because we've seen teams take that big step like the Niners with a good defensive front. I had a friend who said Washington will go 8-8. Let's see how they do. I don't know if I would say that, but I think this is a very convincing win. We saw a lot of shockers this week, so let's see how they take it. But I think the NFC East is again wide open.
And speaking of shockers, as we transition from our winner segment to our loser segment, our first loser is Jacksonville's tank for Trevor Lawrence. That whole campaign. Look, just like that, the Jags are first place in the AFC South. And
wait, actually, no, wait.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, they're either 1-0 or 0-1. So
Titans and them are tied. But yeah, technically.
And the way they played, like, it really didn't seem like a fluke, because Gardner Minshew, he looked like a legit starting quarterback. The defense, CJ Henderson had a good game. He picked off Phillip Rivers.
Like an amazing game.
Really,
that's
good.
Probably the best
for his first game. Like, that's
and
really
corners
good.
have one of the hardest acclimation periods.
Yeah, Jackson always talked about. Like, there was someone on the scout who said. Sorry,
was he lining up on TY?
Yeah, at times. And TY didn't even have a good game, but
no.
Someone said that CJ Henderson had the best debut since. I think it could have been Ramsey. I'm not sure, but he said it was to a really good corner, and he played amazing. Mm-hmm.
Like, Jacksonville's not a playoff contender. Like, come on. But look, this win, it definitely throws a wrench into the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Now, will Jacksonville
19 for 20?
Like,
kidding me?
Good game.
and in 20 attempts is
19 for 20.
Yeah.
Think about just process that. That's
Gardner
incredible.
Minshew with his weapons.
Yeah, and his O-line's not that great either. I mean, I love their center, but other than that, Andrew Norwell,
this guy is the future. I'm not like I've been in Gardner Minshew.
Jack's been high on him, so I'll give him credit for that. I know Jack liked him going in.
Definitely,
he doesn't turn the ball over. People need to respect, and Jack and I've been saying this too. Kyler's not light years ahead of these second-year quarterbacks.
No,
we were talking about it, right? I think it's a lot closer than people think, and we saw it with this game. Also, a big thing: the Colts, their defense. That's another thing. I mean, I was telling people, right? There were a lot of people who had this team as an underrated top 10 defense. Come on. And I know Phillip Rivers didn't play well in the second half, but you have to stop them. You as 19 for 20, really. Yeah, one incompletion the entire game. That's just pathetic.
And their new addition to Forrest Buckner, he didn't do that good.
No, I mean, the rest of their D-line played okay.
Neutralize him.
Could that be? I mean, I know this is very, very. This is something I wouldn't really say, but do you think this just shows how good Saleh is as a defensive coordinator? The ability to use.
Well, I don't know, because Saleh had a pretty bad game against.
Well, okay, but I mean, a lot of people on the Colts D-line feasted other than Buckner. I think, like,
true.
I forget what. I'm forgetting the name, but I mean,
I guess so, because they were doubling Buckner.
Yeah, and they had 4 sacks on the D-line. That's not bad. I mean, that's not a bad day at the office. So, but. I mean, Jacksonville looked like a team that was trying to lose every game this year, and they came out and beat the Colts in week 1.
Really well. I mean,
it's
CJ Henderson. Man.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's with this team in corners, but hey.
Yeah, I mean, they're a loser for their tanking efforts, but they're a winner for beating the Colts. The Colts.
You think they can carry this over?
No, I think this is. I don't know if they win more than 4 games still.
I'm skeptical on it too. Yeah, I think 5 would be their ceiling.
But
I think
do they need Trevor Lawrence? I don't know if they need Trevor Lawrence. I was high on Gardner Minshew the whole offseason. I said I said if you give him the expected roster for the Broncos and you give Drew Lock the expected roster for the Jaguars, everyone would be much higher on Gardner Minshew. It's just because he's stuck on a terrible team.
Also, I think if you get a high pick, use it on a player, a really good skill player. I don't know, quarterback would be the way to go.
Yeah.
No,
so
I wouldn't go quarterback.
It was extremely shocking to see, but I'm interested to see what this team kind of will be in the future.
Yeah. Moving back towards the NFC East, the two powerhouses, the Cowboys and the Eagles, both disappointing. I mean, we talked about the Eagles before, but like anytime you walk into a stadium as favorites and you lose, you're going to be on the loser list. Do the Eagles get somewhat of a pass because of all their injuries? I don't know. Probably not, because losing to a team without a name.
It's not even that. It's just if you're up 17-0, you have to finish it. Yeah, I don't care who you are. And as much as I love Carson Wentz, I'll be objective on it. You have to finish the game.
Yep.
With the Cowboys, the supposed high octane offense going into this year, I was definitely high on them, and I've kind of tempered my expectations a bit because this looks the same. This looks like the same team as last year. This team looks like an 8-8 team. Or worse.
I mean,
I actually kind of disagree on that though. Like, quick point before Jack, you finish. Like, I was the one who had him going in, but I think they played well last week or on Sunday. I think the running game was really good, right? Zeke was pretty efficient. He had a lot of yards through the ground, so that was, I think, pretty good. Their offensive line actually played decently against Aaron Donald. I mean, they had him at times. I know they gave up one sack, but for the most part, they played pretty well, I would say. And they were one OPI call of away from winning the game. I know they got some favorable things like the face mask on Goff when he threw the pick. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I do.
But that was a clear miss. So I think the Cowboys played okay. I think there is some things to look forward to. I know they lost Leighton Vander Esch. That's another. Their linebackers are a big concern for me, though. Jalen Smith had a 28 PFF grade. That is awful. That is god awful. And as a Pro Bowler or like a borderline, star, you've got to do better than that. Other than that, though, I think there's still some things to look forward to for the Cowboys. But losing like that, it just shows why this franchise hasn't been at the cream of the crop for the last 20 years.
And in the NFC East, it seems like every year we're like, okay, maybe this year's they're not going to have a 9-7 champ. They're going to have 2, maybe 10-6 teams. And we thought, the Cowboys and the Eagles, they both improved. They should do better. Both teams, to be completely honest, looked the exact same as they did last year.
Yeah.
The Cowboys with Mike McCarthy, I was like, oh, it was Jason Garrett was the problem. They didn't execute. They
terrible play calling in the red zone.
I observed no changes.
They looked like the exact same team as last year. They both of these teams still look like 8-8, 9-7 teams. The Eagles, they're still a team that's going to get injured and they're going to disappoint in games. Yeah. These teams are supposed to be contenders and powerhouses in this division and are supposed to be, big playoff and Super Bowl contenders. They both looked again like the same teams they were last year, which is always a fear for the NFC East. And I kind of thought about it this offseason. It's like, are these teams ever going to be able to get out of this rut? And it just doesn't look like it's this year.
Division.
Yeah.
So.
And I know it's week 1, but it just both of these teams looked eerily similar to the teams that played last year.
So, but quick note though, throughout these things, how much do you think week 1 has an impact on your things? Because it feels like a warm-up game for these guys, but it just isn't because it's the NFL and every game matters.
But also,
it's so hard to say.
But also, it's everyone always has faith in these teams, and no matter what, they always disappoint, which is why these two teams, I don't know if this is overreacting because it just looks the same. And it's not like they looked disappointing to what we were thinking about this year. It's just they looked like they didn't change.
Mm-hmm. And we stress not overreacting because there was no preseason. This is the first game we've seen them play. So, maybe this is just like shaking off the rust, some of that sort, but it's still concerning.
These teams don't have a lot to bring in and change. They didn't go under a ton of change. Like Mike McCarthy's offense is new, but the roster stayed mostly the same for both of these teams. There was no quarterback change. They don't have super young quarterbacks. They should have been some of the lesser rusty teams.
Yeah. And then if you guys don't mind, I'll move us on here to another loser, a guy we've been kind of, hating on a little bit. And I think it showed last week, Matt Patricia with the Lions. Shrikar, I know you didn't like the pick that you picked when I told you. Should have taken the Bears. But
he was,
you know what?
He was hating on us. He's like, how about that Lions pick? What'd I tell you about the Lions? And then we're like,
DeAndre Swift.
We were like, he got us there. He got us there, and we're like,
lost
wait.
in the Lions fashion, but you can't ignore Mitch Trubisky in the fourth quarter, who, it's crazy because me and Jack, we actually agreed on him, and we were both kind of high on him coming into the year. It's funny. I thought. And a lot of people were saying, oh, Foles should start right away after that first half. Hey,
I was saying that, dude.
Oh yeah, you were. No, but I said, you know what? Wait a little bit. Let's see it. And Trubisky did his thing, came back. I didn't expect this. I'll tell you that. But I thought he would do enough to beat the Lions, right? And he did. 9-23-1 is his record with the Lions. He showed up late to meetings his first year in. Terrible way to start. This just shows why this Lions team isn't just it's backed off a terrible organization. I don't even this team has talent. It really does. I think Matthew Stafford is a good quarterback. I'm not as high on him as others. I mean, I've seen people put him top 6. It's not like that for me, but he is a very good quarterback.
If we're being honest, Matthew Stafford kind of disappointed me in week 1.
He played well, I thought.
He played well. What?
It
was the play calling that was the problem.
Yeah, I thought it was the play calling 1 and 2. He made the play. If he hits that to Swift, for one, that impresses me a lot because it was a game-winning drive and he made the play. Yeah, I feel bad for Trico because I won the picks off that. So, but you know what? I think this just shows the difference in organizations, and we've seen it with other teams, right? If you're a bad organization, badly run, it just transcends. It's a trickle-down effect. The NFL is a business. It is. Teams are businesses, and you see how it trickles down. We've seen trash organizations just be trash for a while, and you know what? As a fan of one of them, I can definitely attest to that, and we can see how good ones stay consistent while the bad ones don't. And Matt Patricia is just another mistake in the Lions coaching tree. I don't know why they fired Tim Caldwell. 3 winning seasons in 4 years. I'm still confused.
Do you think it stems to Bob Quinn too, general manager?
No, I think it's mostly Patricia.
Yeah.
Like you see the Jets play terrible this week, and Sam Darnold comes out and puts all the blame on himself. A 23-year-old quarterback putting all the blame on himself for a bad offense. And versus Matt Patricia comes out and in his post-game presser, I think someone asked him if there was something in his coaching that just isn't happening enough in the fourth quarter. And his response is, yeah, no, I don't think so. I think I probably have one of the biggest plays in the fourth quarter in the history of the NFL. Talking back, obviously, to the Super Bowl Malcolm Butler pick, there was a great play by the corner who happened in the Super Bowl for a different team years ago. And so he
feels
believes,
like right place, right time.
That was more so the Seahawks, they didn't run the ball.
Yeah.
And he didn't take responsibility for his team blowing a 7 for what was it?
And we saw a rookie head coach, a young guy in Kevin Stefanski, take all the blame. Right? I'm not saying he's a good coach or anything, but as a coach, you have to address it, the team, and you have to be the leader. The leader will take the credit, but he has to also take the blame.
And it looked like he was just dodging criticism at this point. Yeah. And he blows leads, and he's 9-23-1 with the Lions. He does not last very long, I don't think.
Yeah. I think maybe to round this out, the final loser, again, I think Jack kind of put this on as a little bit of a troll, but the entire kicking position. It was a pretty bad week for kickers in the NFL. Mainly Steven Gostkowski.
Randy Bullock, too.
Randy Bullock
to watch. Yeah,
Randy Bullock ruined my pick and Joe Burrow's debut.
Yeah.
And for the entire kicking position, 19 missed field goals and 5 missed extra points in week 1 alone.
Yeah, Seibert, I'm glad you're gone. I hope you missed 3 kicks against us on Thursday. So, yeah. I'll let Jack take over because this was kind of his thing.
Who do you have at kicker now? He's going to hit what? How many uprights this time? Cody Parkey?
You know what, man? You know what? We've never had a kicker. I mean, Zane Gonzalez missed 6 kicks in 3 weeks, cost us to lose 2 games. You know what? I don't want to talk about it. Whatever.
But no, the kicker position, it struggled week 1. 19 missed field goals is ridiculous. And we saw a lot of rookie kickers play terribly too.
But that's so weird though, because there's no crowd. You would think opposite.
And they're the team that's not affected at all by no preseason and weird training camps. They can do the exact same thing that they do normally. So it's weird that they missed 19 field goals with no pressure on them. But I mean, that's kind of going to wrap it up for this episode. This is kind of the first time we've done a winners and losers episode. Let us know down in the comments if you like this and if you want to keep going with this. That's our plan kind of for the rest of the week.
Timestamps will be in the description.
Timestamps will be in the description, as well as our picks for next week will come out soon. But thank you guys so much for watching. We had a giveaway that we're going to shout out all the winners each episode that we do. So go follow them right now. Their Twitter and Instagram will be right here. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.